Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Viet Lei from Wutan, Seattle. Today, I have the honor of interviewing this channel's host, Shifu Jorge Rubio Perez. He is originally from Venezuela, but currently residing in Massachusetts. He is a student of Master Yunys Zapata and is a grand student of Master Daishijo. I had a great time interviewing him. We're going to break down this interview into three parts. If you want to know more about Shifu Perez, stay with me and let's get to it. Hello, everyone. My name is Viet Lei, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to interview this channel's host and fellow Wutan practitioner, Jorge Perez Rubio. I wanted to thank you for all your effort thus far in recording interviews with Wutan practitioners across the world. So, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Viet. I'm very, very happy to be here in this interview. I'm doing pretty well. I'm excited about this opportunity. It's always good to have to be in the other side of the fence, right?
Yeah, are you ready for this? I'm interested to get a lot of your feedback because I don't know how many times you've been interviewed before, but I'm really interested in getting some of your responses to some of your questions that you've been asking people.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll get there.
So, can you introduce yourself and tell us about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally from Venezuela. I was born and raised in Venezuela. Um, in 2012, I moved to Spain for 3 years to Barcelona to do two master's degree there, one in project management and the other one in supply chain management. I got a scholarship through sport, okay, through kung fu
Mhm.
in Venezuela, and then that's why I pretty much moved there for 3 years, and I worked there and I studied these two master's degree, and I graduated in Venezuela from an electrical engineering degree specialized in power systems.
Wow.
So that's my profession, you can
Mhm.
say.
And currently you're located where again?
Now, well, after 2015, after I finished in Spain, I moved to US. I
Mhm.
moved first to Connecticut, to a town called Manchester, Connecticut. I
Okay.
was working there. I started working for this electrical manufacturer company back in the day, and then 2 years later, I moved to Massachusetts with my current wife.
Very good.
So that's why I moved to Massachusetts. I started dating with her, and she was living in Mass. I was living in Connecticut. It was a kind of a distance relation, right? And once that we found out it was working pretty well, so we decided to, go one step farther, and we moved together. And I got a
How long
different
have you been
role.
how long have you been married for?
We got married in November of 2018.
Days.
How is that?
No, it's good that you remember the date, right? Because this is on
Yes,
record,
no,
right? I
no,
don't mean to put you
November
on the spot.
5 is, and she will watch it, so I better remember the day as well. And then we had our kind of like a big wedding. That was through the town, but then we had a big wedding in March of 2019.
So interesting. So kind of right near the pandemic a little bit.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
right before the pandemic. You're correct.
So can you tell me more about your martial arts background? When did you start practicing Kung Fu?
So
How'd you find your teacher?
yeah, so it's funny how I did it, right? I started when I was 5 years old. I started watching all these movies, and actually this TV show called Kung Fu from Dave Caroline, right? Everybody remembers that pretty much. And I used to watch and I used to like it a lot. Uh, I used to watch every type of fighting movie and all that. So I pretty much told my mom that I wanted to do martial arts, right? So she took me to different schools. Okay, I remember the first one that we visited was a karate school. And no offense to my karate friends, but I didn't like it. I didn't feel connected with that martial art. Okay, I told my mom, no, but this is not what I'm looking for. So maybe
This time,
because it was, what's that?
how old were you at this time?
Five and a half years old. That's when I
And
started looking for a.
you were already kind of that picky. You already knew what you wanted.
I was picky, yeah,
Wow.
because I would say that another kid just kind of put the uniform and start practicing right without
Typically.
asking or questioning
Sure.
nothing. So I said no, I don't like karate. I don't know if because it wasn't similar to the moves that I used to watch in this TV show, right, called Kung Fu, which was mainly Kung Fu, right? Um, in all these movies, right? It was different. Then we went to a taekwondo school, and I didn't like it either. I didn't like taekwondo. For some reason, I didn't click with it. And then we went to the first kung fu school that was actually in my town as well, where I used to live. And even when it was kung fu as well, I didn't quite connect with it. Okay, it was I remember it was like a white crane style. Is that
Oh,
correct?
Tibetan White Crane.
Yeah, I think so. That was a style of uh no, actually the name of the style is Pak Hopai. Pak Hopai.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a just because I do too many styles, right?
Uh,
So
please.
Hapai is Tibetan White Crane. And it probably came to Venezuela from Hong Kong, because
Okay.
that's where it took off. But Tibetan white crane and Fujian white crane are two different styles. Tibetan white crane is more long-armed, right?
Okay.
Fujian white crane is a southern style. Tibetan white crane more of a Tibetan Northwest style. So,
Okay.
um, did you do this class at all, or did you stay
No,
with them
I
at all?
didn't
No,
I
you just
didn't even do a class. And actually
mhm,
the gym was pretty cool. They had even a swimming pool inside and a gym and everything. It was like pretty nice. But
okay.
again, I didn't click with it.
Hmm.
Now, let me get to the point, right, where I finally went to the second Kung Fu school. I kind of knew that Kung Fu was more that I was looking for. So it was just a matter of time of finding the right school. So we went to this school called Shaolin Kung Fu, La Danza del Dragón. Okay. And I remember just looking at the entry, it was this Chinese entry, look kind of a temple, right? And that was the entry. And I was like, that was my first impression was like, wow, this is amazing, right? And then we went through, I remember walking through a big hallway and then turning left and looking at this huge space, okay, with punching bags and weapons. And it has a yin yang in the center where they used to do pakwa around the yin yang, okay. And I was like impressed with the school. And then we went inside and there was another space inside. They had a gym and everything. I was too little to use the gym, but all the, let's say, the amenities in the school was very impressive. And then I looked at one class and I immediately told my mom, this is where I want to start. So that's how I
10 years old
five and
at
a
this time.
half years old. Yes. 1990. Okay, so it's been quite some time already, more than 33 years from then. And I did my first class. I remember my mom talked to somebody at the school. Grandmaster Tai Seche back then had left to Taiwan, and we were gonna talk about it later. But I
When
think he left. I think he left in 1986, 1987 to Taiwan. Okay, and I came to this school in 1990. So that's when I first met my master. Okay, my master Yunys Zapata, and I tried the first class in the school, and then I joined it, and here I am. But that was my first school, my first everything as far as martial arts.
Can you talk about more about how Kung Fu came to Venezuela? And maybe more details as to how La Danza del Dragón got set up? Because it seems like for a school that size with amenities, that somebody who had some money must have
Yeah,
invested in such a school.
definitely.
I'll be honest, I've never heard of that size school in the United States, right?
No,
Um,
yet I've
but
never seen something like this here. Never. It
so
was
so can you
huge.
can you yeah, how did La Danza del Dragón, and pardon my accent,
No,
right?
no, no, it's perfect.
La Danza del Dragón gets started.
Yeah, so I remember this story because I was two leader, but I've heard it so many times from other my shisus and my other uh, family members from the lineage, right? There was this guy. He was a businessman, basically. He didn't do kung fu. He was just a businessman, and he, I don't remember why he wanted to start this school in Venezuela. I don't know if he had some relations with the embassy or something like that. Or that part I don't remember, but I know he went to talk to um, somebody in Taiwan. I don't want to say that it was Grandmaster Liu Yun Chao or Grandmaster Suyu Chen, but just to get to the point, he talked to Grandmaster Tai Che, Grandmaster Suyu Chan, and Grandmaster Fu Sung Nan, and they told him that he wanted to start a school in Venezuela. That was in the early 70s,
So this
probably
businessman must have
70.
been Chinese. Was this Chinese? This was a Chinese businessman,
I
I'm
think
guessing.
he was Chinese or Taiwanese.
Okay.
I don't know if he was born in China or Taiwan.
Okay.
But yes, Chinese. And then that was in the early 70s. He brought Grandmaster Tai Che, Grandmaster Suyu Chan, and Grandmaster Fusunan to Venezuela. That's how they started Shaolin Kung Fu La Danza del Dragón, which wasn't the original name of the school. I don't remember the exact original name, but apparently there was some um, issues translating the original name, and it ended up being Shaolin Kung Fu La Danza del Dragón. That's what we know so far, but yeah, it was
Okay.
going to be a different one. So they
Okay.
started this school in the early 70s, and they had different classes, different groups. Um, they taught their. We're gonna talk about the curriculum later, but they pretty much taught praying mantis, okay, um, all the different Pakwa, Piqua, Pachi, even Chenji, Tai Chi. I think it was Yang style and Chen style as well. Those styles, also sparring as well. They used to do a lot of sparring in the school, and they all had like different classes between Grandmaster Taisa Chen, Grandmaster Suyu Chan, and Grandmaster Fusung Nan. They were all teaching, okay, along the day. I think classes started around noon until night. Uh, that's how everything started as far as my school in Venezuela, and then of course Shaolin Chanchuan from Grandmaster
Conscious.
Fusung Nan, Long Fist,
Hmm.
correct? And I remember this is funny because the influence that we had back in the day from Grandmaster Fusung Nan in our forms, and also I remember all pretty much all the Julians that we learned there were actually long fist duelian, like Guan Tao versus Spare. Um,
Yeah, the partner sets.
their partners. That's correct.
Mhm.
So, and then, like I said, Grandmaster Tai Che left to Taiwan probably in 1986 or 1987. And my master Yunys Zapata and master my Chisu Yuri Jimenez, they kept teaching in that school until, just to quick summary, right? Until um, Mr. Luis Chan decided to leave also Venezuela. And I think, just long story short, they told my master and my Shizu Yuri, hey, I'm leaving. Do you want to buy the house for the school? Uh, it didn't work out for them at that time. So he had to sell the house, and then my master moved to a different location, and then my Shizu Yuri Jimenez also moved to a different location, and that's how they split it after uh, Mr. Louis Chang decided to sell the property.
So the actual place is no longer a kung fu school anymore.
No, it's actually a residential building.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I see videos of Shifu Yuri Jimenez teaching in a park um, often.
Yes.
Uh, and I don't know where Shifu Yunys Zapata is teaching.
Yeah.
Is it
Yunis,
so?
my master, my Shifu, he stayed in the same town,
Okay.
just a few blocks farther from that location.
Okay.
It's like a sport complex,
Okay.
all right, and that's where he's teaching right now. It's called Parque Naciones Unidas. That's a location, but it's also in El Paraíso, which is
Okay.
the name of a town in
Right.
Caracas, Venezuela.
How far is El Paraíso from Caracas?
Well,
Is it?
El Paraíso is part of Caracas.
Oh, es un barrio.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. It's a neighborhood.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a neighbor.
Just wondering, so historically in America, our sort of narrative is that when these kung fu teachers came to the United States, that they initially only taught Chinese students, and then with time, um, American students, non-Chinese, were allowed to study.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was very difficult initially for non-Chinese to learn Kung Fu. And I was just wondering, was there anything that happened similar in Venezuela? Was there separate classes for Chinese and non-Chinese?
No,
Did you
not at all.
everything was
I'm not aware of anything like that that happened there. Actually, I heard from my Chisu Yuri that probably Grandmaster Taiseche was, if not the first, probably in the top three of having um, disciples outside of Taiwan
Mhm.
and like Western kind of people as disciples. Because the first group of he had, if I remember correctly, he had five different groups of disciples in Venezuela only, and the first one was in 1977.
Mm.
So we gotta, trace the line and see if in 1977 there was other kung fu masters that did disciples back then. I'm not aware. I don't remember. Maybe Grandmaster Adam Su, maybe Grandmaster Suyu Chan as well. But I don't remember when Grandmaster Suyu Chan left Venezuela. I know he's been all over the place. He's a great master. I really respect his work as a martial artist, right?
Mm.
And I remember he's been all over the place. Actually, he split as well when at some point, and he started Pachi Tanlan
Mhm.
in Venezuela and in other countries as well, right? I know that
Right.
he's actually went to Barcelona, Spain as well.
Right.
I don't know if Japan. Probably you know more this than I do, but he's been all over the place, and
Sure.
now he has students all over the place. But again, 1977, first group of disciples of Grandmaster Taisei Che. Maybe let's take a look and see if one of the Wu generations made disciples before 1977. But he was
Not very
probably
many.
one of the first group or one of the first masters that did that.
That concludes part one of this interview with Shifu Perez. Please make sure to check out part two and part three. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up.